very pleased to say that I know most people in this room, which is lovely. For those that don't know me, I'm an academician and one of the senior brand development chefs here at Waitrose. This is Martin Lee, our executive chef. We are so excited to be able to host you all for the September plenary today. I was thinking on my way in this morning of the Academy and kind of what it means, and I've probably known about the Academy for most of my career, thanks to Yolandi and the amazing team at the University of West London who kind of got me on my path to where I am today. And to see many of my former lecturers here today as well is extremely humbling and slightly nerve-wracking at the same time. We'll get the assessment going. It's a very, as you know, the Academy is super special, and we believe here at Waitrose that our purpose and vision really aligns, and we're super excited about where the working relationship between Waitrose and the Royal Academy.
And I'm not Brian Turner, obviously. Brian's gone home. He wasn't feeling 100%, and he's also going on holiday tomorrow. So I think he's gone home to pack his suit. So you've got me instead. It's great to see so many of you here today, and I hope you've all taken something away from today. This has been a bit of a departure for us, and an exciting one, because it's good to do that cross-learning between retail and what we call trade, I guess. And I think I've certainly taken something away from today, and there were some good questions going on in the kitchen. I think we threw the chefs a couple of times, so hopefully we don't get questions like that at the end of this bit of the day. Thank you to Martin Lee, who is the executive chef here at Waitrose, and to Will Torrent, who is Senior Brand Development Chef, and also all of your team, because everyone's been so passionate and engaged today, so thank you very much. It's been also, I should say that Will's probably very nervous, because most of his mentors are in the room, and I'm feeling pretty pressurised if I was standing here in front of all of mine as well. So, John Williams is away in Australia, not on holiday, he's actually working at the moment, so he wanted to send you all his regards. And as Will alluded to earlier, we do have a plethora of pastry chefs. You know, that was my word. But it is fantastic to see, because often pastry is the forgotten sector of our industry, and there's a real need for us to be promoting pastry generally. So it's great to see so many of you here with us today. So I won't say much more, other than to come back in a few minutes and give you an update. But I didn't want to leave this welcome section without mentioning Nico Medenis and his recent departure. So I don't know if it's appropriate, but maybe we could just give Nico a round of applause and show him. Now I will come back in a few moments and give you more of an update on the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts. But for now, I'd like to hand you over to Professor Peter Jones, MBE, who will be talking about the incredible initiative called Crumbs Project. Peter.
Thank you very much. It's all right, Will. You haven't heard this before. Is Will still there? You haven't heard this one before. Okay. Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. This started a little bit with, or my involvement with this project started some years ago. I've been the chair of the Crumbs Project now for 3 years. But within the last 6 months, I've made contact with Philip Corrick, who many of you will know, who is now a volunteer at a very similar project in Minehead called Fox's Academy, and some of you may be familiar with the name. They're different for us in that they're part of a school, they're part of an academy chain, but what they try and achieve is something similar. So let me tell you a little bit about Crumbs. So what are we and what do we do? We are a charity that provides vocational hospitality and catering education for adults with learning disabilities. Basically, that's all we do. So we take any adult over the age, or anybody actually over the age of 19, who often is at the margins of society. They've never been successful. They've often got a range of learning difficulties. If you look at the picture of Bethan here at the beginning, at the front of our little brochure, you'll realise that she has Down syndrome. We have 3 or 4 people with Down syndrome. We have some with severe autism. We have some who have acquired brain injuries. But basically, they find it extremely difficult to exist in society and get a job. What we try to do is to help them into independent living and to get employment. And we've been fairly successful at that over time. Over the last 3 years, we've tried to change the nature of the organisation, and we're now much more of a training organisation. So we have a structured training programme which is recognised by the Institute of Hospitality. We do assessments of the trainees in much the same way as you would understand you would do any form of professional assessment. And what we're trying to do is to give them the skills that they can take those skills and they can then work in the industry. Probably limited period of time. Most of them can't work only up to 16 hours, otherwise it affects their benefits. But some of them can work very, very successfully in those environments. They're never going to be really what you would call, you and I would call a professional chef, but what they are superb kitchen assistants, and some of them are excellent at being KPs. And we all need KPs and we all need kitchen assistants. And they have the skill sets and they can develop the skill sets because of the nature, often because of their disability. I mean, I'll give you an example. One of our trainees last week, I was working with him in the kitchen and I asked him to chop parsley. I've never seen a guy chop parsley so professionally, but I had to tell him to stop because he was chopping it so finely that he would have ended up with just or hardly anything at the end. The reason being he's severely autistic. So he's great at doing things, he can do it and he can repeat it, but you do have to tell him when to stop it. So we have people with all these, we have 30 trainees altogether. They come to us for different periods of time during the week. The minimum will be 5 hours, the maximum will be 16 hours a week. Our funding, because we're a charity, we get no government funding at all, so we're entirely reliant on grant donations and aid. We do get a little bit of money from the local authority in what's called supported employment funding, because the way in which we get people to go through to employment. We have our own commercial kitchen with a small bakery on site. We feed between 15 and 30 people for lunch every day, which is part of the trainees training program, because above us is supported living, 54 flats where people live in supported living. So we provide breakfast for them, and we provide lunch, and we do a range of afternoon tea cakes and things which they can then purchase from us as well. So we have commercial outlet to what we do. It doesn't make a lot of money, probably about $5,000 a year. It costs us £350,000 a year to run the organisation. And what we're really looking for is industry support. Not going to grant aiders, but to get people to understand what we can offer and how that can fit into their own business. And I'll give you 2 very, very good examples where we've been very successful at that. I'm not sure I've got his picture in this one, I haven't. But we have one young man who's now one of the front of house staff at Rick Stein's in Sandbanks. He's autistic, he's been with us, he was with us for about 2 years, and now he's holding down 16 hours a week as a front of house member of staff at Rick Stein's. We have others that go and work in the local parks, cafes, in terms of production. Many of them are very capable of operating tills and so on. They've never had the opportunity to explore what they're capable of doing. We try and give them the opportunity to realise their potential. And they are significant in terms of that potential. So I think what we're looking for, and I know is something that Philip's looking for, is how can you guys help us to do what we do? And that could be in a whole variety of different ways. I'll give you another example. Last week I was at the Belfry with the Hotel and Catering News Golf Day. We were one of the recipients of that. We were doing our thing with our trainees, and 2 of the people there are suppliers, one of whom is a catering cleaning specialist. he's offered to clean our premises free of charge twice a year. Otherwise, that's probably saved us best part of £2,000. So there's all sorts of funny little ways, no, not funny ways, but you know what I mean. There are different ways in which you can probably help us. So that's what we're looking for. So I'm not going to go on any longer. I think my 5 minutes is up. I have a whole raft of brochures here which gives you a bit of a clue about what we do. Contact details are on the back. My contact details are probably well known to quite a few of you, but otherwise Daniel has them anyway. And if there are things that you can think about where you think I might be able to help, then please do get in touch. Just on my passing, tomorrow night we're doing a showcase event, which is a curry evening. So our trainees are actually doing some of the mise en place today. Tomorrow we're doing it for about 30 who are some of our funders, people that we invite to come in, and we run these about 3 or 4 times a year. What we have coming tomorrow night, we have 2 chefs from Baxter Story who are also a great supporter of ours, just to help in the finishing and the delivery of the service of that particular event. So there are things where you may think, well, you know, I'm a long way away, we're in Bournemouth, it might not happen, but nevertheless, if you've got some ideas or contacts, we'd be delighted to hear from you. And I know Philip would be thinking much the same if he was here and be able to talk about Fox's Academy.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to leave some of those on the front, so when you finish, if you want to take one, please pick one up or come and see me, I'll give you my business card.
Thanks, Peter. We have just last week, I think, shared a Fox's Academy video on the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts Instagram page, and we'll share one from Crumbs when their latest video comes through. But do please contact Daniel or myself, and we can give you contact details if you don't manage to pick up the brochure today. I'm going to now go very quickly because I'm conscious we're over time because we all asked too many questions next door. And you really want to hear from Martin and Lizzie at the end rather than us. So I did want to just say, following Peter's speech though, that I guess the whole being a responsible employer in this day and age also necessitates playing to people's skills, and that's exactly what you're doing, isn't it? It's picking up those individual skills from the people that are, and also that flexible working piece, isn't it? So that we can all kind of try and do a bit more. So we, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it in a minute, but we had a strategy day last week, and I guess it's up to all of us to do a bit more joined up thinking and think about the kind of organisations that are on the periphery. So we'll be working with Crumbs and the Felix Project and Only Paving the Way and all of these organisations a little bit more in the future. So my first job today is to welcome some new members. Lee By, who I did warn earlier I was going to mention. Is he still here?
Yeah.
Where is he? So this is Lee, everybody. He's one of our newest members. You have to stand up and take a bow, Lee. So Lee By is chef patron of the beautiful Tubman and Mill in East Anglia. If you haven't been, you should go. It's fab. It's got lovely little places around the lake and tents as well now, haven't you? Teepees, I should say. And we've got some new associate members with us today. We've got Jason Hurst and Stephanie Coyne here of Grow. Where are Jason and... Oh, they're separate, look. Oh. Right, Stephanie here and Jason here. So welcome, thank you for joining us. And Oliver's going to hate me. We've got Ollie here with us today. Oliver Bricknell, or Ollie Bricknell, who's started as a member of the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts team. Today's his first day. So please, everybody, welcome. If you would like a little pin, I know Lee's already got his, but Stephanie and Jason, if you'd like a little pin to wear, Daniel's got some if you'd like to pick one up. Okay, so a quick update from me. Back at the end of July, we had our 2023 Annual Awards of Excellence Gala Dinner at Claridge's. We had 220 guests. It was quite a scrum. It was a pleasure for me to present the awards this year with John and Brian, and we had 26 achievers and 3 final winners. There was a lot of emotion on the night. I think Gary Jones picked up quite a lot of that emotion from one of our young winners. We had Billy Etheridge, who is our demi-chef de partie at Le Manoir Côte Saisons, was named our Rapper Young Chef. Megan Armstrong, the pastry chef de partie at 21 Newcastle, was crowned Young Pastry Chef. And Cleo Hudson, demi-chef de rang at L'Enclume in Cumbria, became our Young Waiter of the Year. So they will pick up their prize element of the Annual Awards of Excellence next year. And hopefully we get to take them to Champagne again. Perhaps Daniel and I won't go this time. So that's sponsored by the Savoy Educational Trust. But if there's any stagiaire opportunities amongst any of you, please do let Daniel or I know if you think you might be able to offer a stage for any of our achievers or winners of the Annual Awards of Excellence. We'd love to take you up on that opportunity. Daniel and Waitrose to come up. I don't know if you're going to come. It does feel very formal standing away that far. So once Martin and Lizzie have spoken, obviously ask them as many questions as you like, and we've got about 45 minutes, I guess. So
Plenty of time.
yeah, plenty of time. Thank you very much.
Cool. So hopefully, first of all, I hope you've enjoyed your time so far in the Food Innovation Studio. And it's great, and I kind of said it in the introduction, it's really nice that we can do a little bit of demystifying what we do behind these, these white industrial-looking buildings. But it's all around food. It's all about great quality food. It's all about innovation. So it's great that I can stand up here in front of some incredible people and talk about food innovation, what we do, how we do it, because I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really different. I think it's really important. So, do you want to skip on? So, to give you a bit of context about who we are and the structure of the department. So, the Food Innovation Team was established back in 2008. We're a small team that covers an awful lot of ground. So within my team, I have 3 senior development chefs, which Will is one, Paul, who you've met, and Zoe, that did the lunch. Fantastic, all very talented, all have learned their craft, not only in restaurants, but have then basically gone back to school. And I always talk about when you become a development chef, you almost have to become a commie again, because you're now learning not your section, you're learning different manufacturing equipment, different manufacturing tools. So I started off in chilled savoury pastry, moved into poultry, which gave me frozen, coated, slaughter, ready meals, all kinds of different things. So I learned my category knowledge before being able to come and work at a retailer where multi-category knowledge is really important. To give you a bit of perspective, this team looks after everything that has a Waitrose and Partners label on it. So all our own brand products. We have capacity for about 4,500 lines of newness a year. Sounds quite a lot, actually, in the grand scheme of things, in terms of a retailer. It's not huge. The likes of Tesco would do about 17 to 20,000, but the size of my team kind of reflects it. It's not just chefs within my team. Innovation is so much broader than just the people in white coats within my team. It is the likes of Lizzie. So Lizzie, like Trend and Innovation Manager, will look at data, trends, and basically demystify what all that means to businesses like Waitrose. And I won't steal any of that thunder because you're going to go into a bit about how that works and the tools that we use. We also have James, who I know is showing a group at the back, the shy retiring one, who's technical innovation. Now, technical innovation is relatively new. You've been here almost 2 years now?
Yeah, 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. And that's all about the future of food, the future of manufacturing, different types of factory, whether it's vertical farms or interesting technology like egg reduction that helps us with food security. So lots and lots of interesting technologies that us, as the chefs in the team, can then incorporate into our concepts. We then, a team of 7 can't do an awful lot more, so we then have to supplement our resource using some fantastic chef network suppliers. And some of those could be direct suppliers, like the guys you've seen in the kitchen today, from Pilgrims, that will do a broad spread of products, but some of them might be third party, so from flavour houses, from technologies, and we'll bring them in. That enables us to be really fleet of foot and to flex our resource when we need. but it's all about trusted relationships. That's what Waitrose and the John Lewis partnership is all about. That's fundamentally what we're all about. Where you've been today, hopefully you agree it's a fantastic facility. This was built in 2018. Previously, we were in a retrofitted office just up the road in the 5-storey building. That's now, sadly, after COVID, we don't need it at the moment. So capacity is lower, so we don't use that space anymore. But this was a purpose-built facility. It was a big investment by the business, but they understand food. They understand that to innovate and to stay at the top of our game, we need a great facility to be able to do that. It's really important to be able to innovate out of season. So a lot of people have commented on the barbecues that are inside. We need that because we develop out of season. When we're developing barbecue, it's peeing it down with rain. We need to be inside. And when we're doing Christmas, it's roasting because it's July. So we really need to be that flexible within our kitchen space. So what do we do? And a couple of bits there. Innovation pyramid. It's not going to mean a lot to everybody, and I've mentioned it to a few of you already. But essentially what that means is this team or this business has a pyramid of innovation. 10% of what we sell is absolute standout. You can only get it from Waitrose. It's the really special stuff, or it's the really niche stuff. So it could be shio koji that we use on the monkfish. It could be wild garlic that we have in our cook's ingredients. Things that you can only get from Waitrose but are very special. The Christmas dessert, for instance. 20% of what we sell is familiar, but it has a real Waitrose difference. It's still across the road. It's still really special. It's still about great ethics. It's still about great taste. And then 70% of what we sell is what we have to sell. We're a full shop supermarket. So we need the basics. We need the nuts and bolts. So we need to have everything. My team now look after all of that, apart from toilet rolls and cleaning products, because we don't need those. But anything that's to do with food, my team will now look at. And that could be from the very start, so the ideas. We'll then move into acting as consultants through the process. So by the process, I mean coming in, tasting things, changing things around with our suppliers, and then ultimately signing it off. And then at the end, we'll move on to PR. How do we work? So Lizzie's just moved the slide on. We work about 2 years ahead. There or thereabouts. How do we work that far out and still get great products that are still relevant? Lizzie's going to talk about that. But we'll bring those concepts to life through various different mediums. The furthest down will be a chef's table, where we will take a category. We might be talking about new ready meals. And we will take that group of individuals and sit them here and treat them to a very similar chef's table experience that a lot of you will do in your restaurants. So the benefit of doing that is they're close to the food. They see it cooked. They see the ingredients they're using. They understand how to extract the flavour to its fullest. Same as what you guys are doing in restaurants. But they're up close and personal. They understand it. So when they're talking to manufacturing sites and factories, they can get the same level of clarity, the same level of flavour extraction that is the same in our kitchens here. We'll treat them to that very small, very nuanced, very tailored session. 18 months out, we'll do something like a cross-category workshop. So a cross-category workshop, by that I mean it will be something like Christmas, where it's not just ready meals we're looking at cakes, we're looking at confectionery, we're looking at desserts, we're looking at a whole group of things. And that's when this room really starts to come to life. This is when we've got as many people as we have here now, tasting concept after concept, generated by my team in there, tasting it, and this is the real so what. These are the real products that you're now going to walk away, brief out to our suppliers, and then we're going to go through an iterative process to bring those through to market. For those slightly smaller projects, which span one single category, that's probably about 1 year out. That's where we can be much more targeted, and we'll do more specific workshops, and that timeline's a lot quicker. Between 6 months to launch, we're acting as consultants through the process. So we're all about quality and taste in this business. You know, it's critical to who we are in the marketplace. So my team then acts as consultants on taste and quality. Food could still be legally safe and tested to a shelf life of 14 days. If it's not good enough in terms of flavour, texture at 12 days, that's where it stops. Because we need to make sure that we're enforcing our quality and taste, and that is paramount to us. And that's where this team of chefs is really important. And then finally, we get to do the fun stuff as well. So you'll have all seen our Japanese range that's launching in 2 days. We're all decamping tomorrow to King's Cross, and we're doing a full-scale press event with stalls and street foods, and it's going to be amazing, celebrating the launch of our new village. So this team covers everything from the very concept, the very idea, through to excellence consultants in the middle, and then finally we get to do the party bit at the end with the big reveal. So I'm really proud of the team and the skills that we have in, but I think it's really, really interesting. The bit that Lizzie's going to talk about now is how do we get it right, hopefully. Let's go.
Thanks, Martin. So yes, I'm Lizzie. I'm an innovation manager, so I look after food and drink trends. As Martin has already said, I think I have the best job in the company. I get to work with the best chefs. I'm not a chef myself, so I did a degree in food and nutrition, and I've been in food and drink trends for about the last 8 years. So I used to work at Tesco with Martin, and I've worked with various food and drink trend agencies. And so part of what we do here at Waitrose, or a large part of my job, is constantly researching, constantly looking at what's happening in the world of food and drink. So we'll be looking at restaurants, we'll be looking at what chefs are doing. So we need to know what are those really innovative ingredients that are coming down the line. What are our customers eating when they go out? What are they finding interesting, and what are they tasting? So a document that I produce is, we call it Inspire, because we hope that it inspires lots of people. So it's food and drink trends. We do a monthly trend report, which is keeping up to date with what's happening in the world of food, things that we think will be really relevant for Waitrose and potentially for new products and ranges. And this goes out to all of our partners, but also our own label suppliers, so likes of the chefs that we've had helping us today. They'll also get to see our trend data, so we hope that it helps to inspire them. And they will also see where our ideas are coming from. We also do an annual report as well, so every year we'll take a step back and have a look at what are the big changes in the world of food, what are the big consumer trend changes as well, and how is that affecting what consumers are buying, and then what does that mean to Waitrose. I think that's a huge part of what I'll do in my role, so everyone sort of knows the food and drink trends, but the key bit is translating that into actually what does that mean to our customers and what does that mean to Waitrose. So we use a lot of data, so all these kind of points of reference on here is a huge part of my role that I'll be kind of dissecting and going through to understand what those trends are, what's really important. I'll talk through a couple of these. I'm not going to go into huge amounts of depth. So Tastewise at the top there. Has anyone heard of Tastewise? A couple of people. So it's an AI platform essentially. So I'm sure a few of you have heard about artificial intelligence. There's a lot of news stories going on about it at the moment. So essentially Tastewise is a platform that amalgamates data from social media, so Instagram, from menus online, and from recipes. So the recipes are from Pinterest that people have pinned, so they're recipes that people want to cook at home. And the data that we get out of this is absolutely incredible. So in the simplest form, we can put in Japanese cuisine, and we can see how much that's grown on social media conversations since last year. So it will give us a statistic, so it's grown 30%, I don't actually know if that's what it is, since last year on social media conversations. So we can see what people are talking about. And we know on Instagram that a lot of people post about food, and that's one of the kind of main areas that people are talking about food. And they filter this information for us. And we can also see what's going on to menus. So we can look at specific ingredients. So our Cook's Ingredients range that some of you will have seen in the tasting rooms, we use this data a lot to have a look at what are those key ingredients that people are talking about on social media, what are they and what are on menus, what's in growth. They also give you an amazing trend prediction line, so they'll use all that data and all that background data to tell us, okay, where could this be in a couple of years? Is this going to go up or going to go down? It's really, really fascinating. And they just brought, we were at a conference last week with them. They just brought in their own version of ChatGPT, so some of you might have heard of, it's been all across the news. they're doing a taste GPT. So we can ask it questions of, what are the top trending cuisines? And it'll come back using their data and tell us what the top 3 trending cuisines. It's fascinating. A little bit scary, but we're embracing it, and it's such a great tool for our product development, for our concept development. So there's all sorts of tools on there you can put in. So we're playing around, but you can put in something like Mexican cuisine and high protein. Know that the trending diet, Mexican is a trending cuisine, and it gives you 10 different types of concepts, all backed by trend data, and it has AI developed images. So in terms of kind of our ideation sessions and when we're looking at new ranges, this is a tool that we can start to use, as well as our own knowledge and expertise, obviously.
I think that's the bit that AI is a really scary term for a lot of people, because people are worried about their jobs, they're worried about what does it mean, all this stuff it's learning from. AI in our context is only as good as the person that's inputting it. Therefore, having a great primary user is really important, because you have to ask the right questions. So when I gave you the context of the size of our business in terms of the capacity we have for units, 4,500 lines is not huge. And 10%, 450 of those products, is absolute standout, top, therefore quite risky products. Having great data and great information at our fingertips means that we're de-risking the launch of those products. If we were to launch 450 products that nobody wants to buy, we're in trouble. So we need to have really great quality data backing up everything we're doing. So being able to predict as far out as we do with great data that we know is cut to what our customers are looking for. And it's our customers, it's not just a food trend. Because we could go after a food trend and it's not right for our customer. It might not be the right welfare standards or the right thing to do. So we need to make sure that all that information is cut to our customers to make sure that the products we launch at the end are absolutely the right thing. And that's the skill of what Lizzie does.
Thanks. So one of the other ones on there, which I think is really important, is Viper. So they're a kind of customer research platform. So it's a way that we can ask really quick questions to our customers. So if we want to ask customers the likelihood to buy between 5 different concepts that we've thought about, we can send that off questions and get the data back within 24 hours, because it kind of goes through an app and people are signed up to it. And essentially, it's quick customer research. Fantastic platform. It really helps with our product development, helps us with naming, helps us with packaging, but also helps us with identifying our trends. So for the last 2 years, we've done what we call a trend tracker. So we've asked the same questions in 2021. We asked them again in 2022. And we asked them again in 2023, and we can then see the changes in consumer behaviour. And it really helps us map out our trends and looking at where the big opportunities are for Waitrose customers. There's a bit of data up there, but there's some really interesting ones on kind of, are they more adventurous of how they cook than previously. So there's not huge amounts of change on there, but you can kind of see, you can track between kind of everyone, and you've got Waitrose customers, and the tallest one in the middle there, the bright blue one, is Waitrose customers agreeing, and they're agreeing more than they were last year. So they're more adventurous with what they cook. And that really helps us when we're looking at product range and things like, again, our cook's ingredients.
I think just to step in there as well. So again, the size of my team is not huge yet. So being able to know what our customers are looking for before we put ingredient into pan is really important. So by identifying a trend via taste-wise, we know it's a trend. Is it going to resonate with our customers? We're going to ask them on Viper. So by the time my team are even putting any ingredients anywhere near the frying pan, we know there's an intent to buy. And that's really important. We're de-risking as we go.
And there's another really key one on that kind of list of data points is the menu logo on there. So we're always out looking at restaurant menus, looking at what chefs are doing. And our whole team, I think, are really passionate about food. So we're constantly looking, we're constantly talking to each other, saying, have you seen this? Have you been to that restaurant? Going out to eat. And that's another area. So that gives us that knowledge and expertise. So we know what to put into taste-wise, and we know what we then need to test with our customers. So I think that's still really, really key that we understand the
Well, it's
food
important that
industry.
we know what the gold standard is, and the talent in the room is the gold standard. This is what our customers a lot of the time are eating. So that's a necessary, very lovely part of the job, is that we do have to go and taste. We do love to engage with chefs. We like to understand new techniques, and this is why it's really important for myself, is that my team are getting closer to young people, because the typical demographic of a development chef looks a little bit like me. I would love to get more young talent coming into development and understanding it as a genuine career path, not just for people that have maybe become slightly more disillusioned with the restaurant industry. I'd like to see people starting off their careers in development, learning the sections in manufacturing, learning how to manipulate ingredients in the manufacturing line, using functional ingredients that typically development chefs will learn when they get their first job. I'd like more skills, I'd like more youth, I'd like more diversity within it. And so it's an interesting topic.
So going on to a bit of a snapshot of the trends that we're talking about this year. So I said we do an annual food and drink trend report every year. So that's our internal one, which we'll use to identify opportunities for Waitrose. So this is for 2024 and 2025. So as Martin was saying, we are looking 2 years out. And a way of how we do this is mapping those macro consumer trends. So using all those data points. So these 4 macro consumer trends are the ones that we've mapped out that we think have the longevity for the next couple of years, that we think will help steer us in the right direction of what our customers want to put on shelves, or want to see on shelves, should I say. So we work with Foresight Factory, so these are consumer trend agencies, they're absolute experts. They also use a lot of customer data, and they also know our Waitrose customer really well. We input into these macro consumer trends. So the first one I was going to talk to you about today, I think is one of the real actually key drivers, key consumer drivers, is quality consumption. So this has been driven by the cost of living crisis that we've all kind of found ourselves in. But actually this is more about, we're looking at Waitrose customers, that the Waitrose customers are really seeking value for money. They still really want that quality and taste. They want to get as much as they can out of the products they're buying. And we're seeing a bit of a shift towards perhaps not eating out at restaurants too much, and then they might be buying in some of our more kind of premium ranges. So thinking about our dine-in meal deal, the #1 dine-in meal deal, and people are kind of, if they're trading off eating out at a restaurant, then there might be beef quality consumption. So we have our macro trends, and underneath those we have about 4 or 5 food and drink trends. I've only picked out a couple because we don't have a lot of time today. I don't know if we're running over time. 5 minutes. I'll go quickly. So extra elevation. So this is something that we see on restaurant menus and what chefs are doing all the time, using those bursts of flavour to elevate simple produce. And it's something that we talk about a lot when we're doing our workshops and we're talking to product developers. So condiments, we know our customers absolutely love condiments. We did some research with Viper. You can do kind of video pops where customers get asked a question and they talk into their phone and send a video back. And we asked them what condiments they like. All of them said spicy condiments. I think sriracha, Frank's hot sauce was on there, sweet chili sauce. They all absolutely love spicy condiments. And we know that's become such a bigger thing over the last few years. So this is where we kind of, we feel like if we're developing products, that's where we can add those hits of flavour. And we've got a couple of examples. So our Waitrose Cooks Ingredients, we've developed some really lovely spicy condiments that consumers can add to their meals. And there's some really fantastic examples from across restaurant menus. So I really love this one that's from Szechuan Fry in London. So the Szechuan fried chicken burger with a honey mala sauce. So a twist on that hot honey trend using mala spice, which is a really kind of spicy, numbing spice. I think that'll actually be quite a hot burger to eat. And so going back to that taste-wise data that I was talking about earlier, this graph, I'm not sure if any of you can kind of read it too closely, but essentially this is a way that we can track some of those key ingredient trends. So we look at going on the upside of the graph, I always forget which that's X or Y, is the growth momentum. So when we can track those social media trends, so Wagyu fat has grown 62% in social media conversations since last year. And that's how we make sure that we're looking at the right ingredients. And then we can go across the bottom of the graph, so emerging ingredients to trending ingredients. So something like lardo is right there, what we call the kind of sweet spot in the middle. So that's the sweet spot for our customers. So whereas you'll see a lot of those emerging ingredients on restaurant menus, we want customers, they want something that's a little bit more familiar, something they might want to buy into, but a lot of our customers are quite foodie. They want something that's got a bit of interest to it as well. And then you go into the mature, something like gochujang is becoming a much more mature ingredient trend now. People are much more familiar with it, and as we said, our customers really like those spicy condiments.
Typically, you'll see things like gochujang. We introduced that into Cook's Ingredients 4 years ago, thereabouts, and now it's pretty much a staple across the market. I would like to think in 2 years' time, everyone else will have wild garlic, and we will have moved on. Everyone else will have shirikoji, we'll have moved on, because that's where we can use data to our advantage, where we can identify that sweet spot, bring it into a trusted brand like Cook's Ingredients. Because again, for us, Cook's Ingredients is great because people are going to cook with it before it becomes mature, and then we're going to stick it into a ready one. So we can introduce things in a Cook's Ingredient before we would use it anywhere.
And then lastly, one of the other macro trends, I'm not going to go through all of them so I don't have time, is planet positive. So this is our sustainability trend. We all know how important sustainability is and how important it is for our customers. It's been really interesting to track sustainability in terms of cost of living and sustainability, and that kind of weighing up that customers are doing at kind of shelf edge. There's been a lot of focus on cost and value, but sustainability is still coming through something really important, and it's going to continue to. And we know that there's such a growing awareness of climate change. So if you think July last year, we were in 40-degree heat. I'm sure some of you might have been in kitchens, and there was, I think, we were doing Christmas in July at that point, and it was one of the hottest days I've ever kind of experienced in the UK. And that was physically experiencing climate change. And I think when you physically experience it yourself, you think, well, we need to do something to change this. And that's changing consumer buying behaviour and what people want to buy into. And we're seeing so many more restaurants now that are taking on sustainability and really making such sustainable menus. It's fantastic. And we look to that to get those ideas and to follow those trends. So Silo Restaurant in London, I think, has got such an amazing ethos. We had a product developer, one of our cafe product developers, went and worked in their kitchen for the day to see what they're doing, get some ideas, and she brought that back to our cafes and Waitrose. I think she started using the mushrooms from breakfast service that were left over to go into a mushroom toasty at lunchtime, which kind of came from an idea from working in Silo. And so one of the key food and drink trends that sits underneath Planet Positive for us is future farming. Something you might have seen our Waitrose weekend out. So farming is really key for us at Waitrose. And we have our Waitrose farm Letford, and we're looking at regenerative farming methods all the time, and Letford, they're really kind of passionate about looking at that, and we'll kind of pass on all those learnings that we get from Letford. And then also things like vertical farming is really kind of key in an area that James is looking at, technical innovation. I think there's some really great examples of regeneratively farmed produce and meat at the moment. So it's starting to come into consumers' vocabulary. We're seeing it on restaurant menus. You're calling out regeneratively farmed meat or produce. Coombe Farm Organic, I think they sell meat online as well. So they do a regeneratively farmed meat box. So customers are buying into this and they're seeing the benefits of it. So it's something that we're definitely really passionate about here at Waitrose as well. And then finally, just one that I added on the end here. So as we may have mentioned, we're launching our new Japanese range. I think we're a little bit excited about it. I'm particularly excited. So I joined Waitrose 2.5 years ago, and the first trend report I wrote was Japanese cuisine. And 2.5 years later, we are.
You use the phrase "so what"?
Yeah.
Do you use that quite regularly?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's kind of I use that question as surgical force.
so what for our customers, then what are we doing? So by looking at the data, brilliant, oh, Japanese cuisine, it's trending, fantastic. Is it trending with our demographic? Is it so what for our customers? It's all about checks and balances. And launching a food product is so much cost. It takes so much time. So if we were to make the wrong decision, if we weren't to ask, so what, and put ourselves in the footsteps of our customers, it's almost a snowball. Once you start saying that's the product we're going after, the technical are going to get in, they're going to start looking if it's legal, if it's safe, we're going to get artwork involved, they're going to draw the design, we're then getting agencies that are going to shelf life test it, and technologists that are going to, or labs that are going to test its shelf life. We're then going to test it on a lorry from point X to point Y to make sure that it doesn't go all smeared all over the film. There are so many steps in the process that once you start, very difficult to roll back. I say you can't, it's very difficult. So making sure at the front end that you're making really great data-backed decisions that are then crafted by a team such as I have. Yes, we've seen the trends, it sounds great. What's that actually? Let's go taste it in the restaurants. Let's, for Middle Eastern cuisine, going out to Jerusalem, to Beirut, to Tel Aviv, and trying all these things to make sure that we're doing things that taste right. There are so many things that we would then bring in. This all goes back to the so what are we doing here? And making sure that it's not only a trend, but it's a trend that our customers want. Because we do have a unique customer base. We've got a customer base that wants to cook more at home than any other retailer. We've got a customer base that is looking to us for inspiration. They're looking for the kojis and the wild garlics that they're eating in restaurants. I'll get them. And that's great for us because we can introduce things because there is a demand. But it's not quick. And the interesting thing about taste-wise is that I think that means we can get it. Because we know by asking it to generate photograph quality images on day one, and honestly, they look at the photos, but they're not.
Is this one a subscription-based program?
It's a free version. Anyone can sign up to it, but in essence, it will only tell you what you're asking. It won't give you the trends. You have to know the trend to go into it. But I could get what looks like a perfect 4K photo of a taco, and it will then find out 10 beautiful photos, 10 fully workable recipes. I can then go to Viper and test those with customers before anything gets cooked. So by the time we start to cook something, we know it's the right thing. And that's really useful because it means my team concentrate on telling the right things, putting all that effort, and actually going to put more effort into getting all the taste, all the texture, all the flavour extracted from everything. And that's really cool.
Any other questions?
It's an easy to source these ingredients. The more unusual ones. How difficult do you find that from around the world?
I find it very simple. James finds it absolutely because that's what we do, and that's the interesting thing. So, when I came here and it was something like the chef's table format was something I did at Tesco. Like, well, why would you do that? That's a lot of effort, because we do it properly. But if I was to tell a buyer, do you know what? I'd really like to use shea koji as a marinade agent in this. They're like, what? That's going to add all this cost. Of course it is. By doing a chef's table format 2 years in advance, I can show them what it is and give it to them to taste. I can walk them through it. So by the time 18 months has passed and I'm telling that buyer who wants to use shea koji, they know it because they've experienced it. They know why we were asking for it, and James had all that time to go and source it. So this is why when we do the chef's tables, I'm kind of 80% certain it's a thing. So again, we need to do some background work and then move into
Have you signed up for the chef table? Is it hard? You've done all your data, you've
good example would be, so we introduced a Basque cheesecake. The first Basque cheesecake into the industry, the first, and it did really well. So everything told us that we can do something with that. And we did a seasonal one, didn't we? The seasonal Christmas, wasn't it? Yeah, and it just didn't work. But all the data was telling us actually you can play around with that flavour. Actually, very good. And it, you know, it does happen. You know, we will launch a product and then 90 days later we will check its performance and the reason that we invest in taste was to make sure that percentage of failure is reduced. Because it does cost a lot of money.
What's next after Japanese?
I don't know what secret.
We can't give away all our secrets, but I think what's interesting is that we've been in cost of living. We're now giving our customers lots of excitement through new cuisine, and hopefully in a year's time we're all going to be feeling a bit better economically. That's what we're predicting. So there are certain special ranges that we're like. I think that's a pretty politician's answer.
And the Japanese trend is quite interesting because you're tapping into that healthy eating kind of trend at the same time.
There's healthy eating and there's comfort eating. And I think a lot of the restaurants and menus that you took a lot of inspiration from is that real kind of, we've got lots of deep fried food in there as well, but we've also got that real health angle. So we've got a bit of both actually in the range, which is
Balance is so important. To have a comprehensive range, you need to have both sides of things. And people being connected to their diet, talk about what's the next trend, that personalised nutrition, the waiting times of the Zoe app.
Yeah, I've used it.
You've used it, lots of people around the business, you see people writing the stickers on their arm. But that's really new, it's been really well embraced, and the waiting list is crazy. And this is iteration one. People are going to get, everyone's walking around buying Apple Watches and Fitbits, because that was the first step into like connected health. That is just going to and that's really interesting because what does that mean for us? Because if my wife needs to eat this meal and I need to eat this meal because the effects of my blood sugar is different to hers, what does that mean to our manufacturing? And when we start making lots of different iterations and different types of products being made. Interestingly, we're already having to look at smaller portion sizes because we're really hungry. So there are more single person households. It's really interesting. We have to look at not only what's happening in here and now in the 2 years space. We don't personally look after it in my team. We have another team upstairs that look after the macro trends 5 years, 10 years, 22 years ahead. And that gets really interesting.
Can I ask about when you're dealing with your chef partners, like your project, for example, do they ever come to you and say, hey guys, we've got this fantastic idea, you're going to love it?
Absolutely.
And so
I
you go
would
through the
really
same
encourage
process?
that. So, if I get great conversations coming that way, and I get a manufacturer saying, look, we're going to invest in this new capability, like Waitrose to fit it, then that means when we're doing our idea session, I know I've got a route to manufacture. So therefore I can tailor, or the team can tailor concepts to that future manufacturing pipeline. It's really important. Having great dialogue that way in, that innovation flow is just critical. So yeah, we absolutely encourage that.
And when with meat in particular, I mean, one of the issues that's often around, of course, is the amount of waste product, although I know it's getting used in a whole variety of other ways. But to what extent are you now looking at saying you had a breast of lamb on picture?
Yeah.
To what extent are you beginning to use these products that previously you may not have used?
Great question. So we're not just a supermarket. So the leather from our cows goes to make sofas in jumpers. The wool from our sheep goes to make bedding for jumper. So don't get me wrong, there is more we can do. There is always going to be more we can do. We have lovely conversations in lots of different areas of the business about what we do next. But the thing is, so what? What are we going to do next? We're always saying, okay, we've got this waste product, what can we do next? But having, being the Goldilocks size and 5% retail means that we take our beef from one supplier, we dedicated supplier. No other retailer can boast that. It's just us. It's our size, our scale. Which means we know where our people are coming from, we know that we can utilise that carcass, and we will balance our ranges to use that. Similarly with our all our proteins, actually, all the pig supply, they're long-term strategic relationships that we've got with that group. But a big part of that will be what's next. What do we do? Well, we've identified a source of waste or a source of something that could be done better. James is looking at interesting ways for feeding chickens at the moment, aren't you, with insects?
Yeah,
James?
using food waste into it.
Feeding insects for food.
Potentially, but that's probably potentially, but there is a big barrier to consumption. People are naturally squeamish unless you grind them up pretty satisfactorily into a flour. But then it's allergenic as well, which is another problem. So manufacturing insects if you were making an insect falafel, essentially people with a shellfish allergy can now react to that. Therefore, we want to introduce it. So there are loads of crazy things like that. Actually, it'll come.
I wonder if you've looked at what innovation the Japanese supermarkets are doing.
We do look abroad, and we do try to get out abroad when we can. We've had a few team that have been over for a look at what's happening in the supermarket. Their supermarkets are amazing. And I've been for a few years ago, and in terms of convenience and just their layout and format, it's absolutely top notch. I think their convenience format and ready meals and
we're lucky that travel is a bit expensive. We're not a huge retailer with a partnership. We are lucky to have sourcing offices in John Lewis globally, so we can use individuals globally to go and do research for us and give us information as well. So Japanese was mainly about what people are seeing in casual dining. Actually, what does phase 2 look like?
How do you sort of keep your new Japanese brand going, say, years down the line? Is there are you working with influencers? Is it more sort of just organic and data only? How do you sort of keep it fresh and keep it going?
From a content point of view, it's an interesting question because I don't look after that. So initially, we'll be talking to influencers and print media, and all kinds of people will come to the launch on Wednesday, and it will find, in essence, an organic place. It probably won't, may not exist as a range in a couple of years' time. Naturally, what it might do is find its way into what we would call a mid-tier design, which is our standard design, because there may be some things that fall off, that don't sell as well, and it can be amalgamated into our broader product offering. Great, because that gives me space to do what's next.
Sure.
And that's the cyclical nature of what we do. And actually, I think that's quite exciting. The band team, I'm in Eastern Wales, we launched 2 years ago. A 2-year cycle for a new cuisine, which is pretty impressive. But it's not disappeared. It's still there, but some of it's amalgamated into mid-tier, some of it's remained under its band team identity. But yeah, we'll do more of it.
Just on the Japanese brand, do you consult with someone Japanese?
We did, yeah. Want to talk about it?
We've worked with the Asian Leadership Collective and Yuki, who I don't know huge amounts about her background, but we've consulted with.
So we do, and what we also do is, as a partnership, so when we talk about partners, we're partners. The employees of the partnership are partners. We have various networks within the business, faith networks, all kinds of different networks that we actually talk to, because that's a great way of bringing diverse groups into our product development and giving partners a sense of ownership about what we're doing. So yeah, we absolutely spoke to
by what the parents are being aimed for, or is there any work that's specifically on a younger generation that you want to be your
Yeah.
Waitrose customers?
It's a good question, and it's probably an area that we don't look up. Actually, if there's one criticism that probably don't do themselves, it's probably that. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. Certainly in the past 3.5 years since I've been here, I started 2 weeks before lockdown in this business, challenging. So the business has been through a tremendous amount of flux, which meant we've really had to look at our heartland of where our customers are and make sure that our offer is right. So again, as a partnership, we do an awful lot of work with care organisations. We have partnership hotels where we look at bringing apprentices and but actually bringing foodie credentials into that younger demographic probably knows more than me. But say prioritise it for the past couple of years is that heartland. But it's definitely we're going to need to shift focus because our customers are older.
Thank you. Thank you to Martin and Nick. But it's been a fascinating day. I hope you've all take something away from it. And it's great to see again so many pastry chefs in the room and so many different ideas and creativity. And again, thank you to Will and the whole team